Hello, everyone. Let's go ahead and begin our demonstration of the week 7 housekeeping items. We'll talk about this particular week, what is on your plate for week 7. We'll talk about the late assignment policy. When should you be expecting feedback for week 7? My availability during the week. Reminder about time management. We're getting close to the end of class within 2 weeks here. So again, just to reiterate time management. Especially with the project and the remaining Zybook and challenge activities, make sure you're allocating enough time to get everything done to be successful. And then we'll point out from week 7's challenge and participation activities, as well as week 8, I've got out there the videos that are available for you to take a look at. I always, week 8, there's typically only 1 week to complete it. However, you're more than welcome to start on anything in week 8, with the exception of the discussion forum. The discussion forum has to be completed in week 8. That cannot be posted early, but the Zybook and the challenge and participation activities, you're more than welcome to start in week 7, and I'll point out where both of those videos are available starting this week for you to take a look at. All right, so what's on your plate for this week? Review the module resources. We have the challenge and participation activities for week 7. Also can take a look at week 8 if you choose to do so as well. You can start them in week 8, that's perfectly fine, but I wanted you to make sure that you had the resources available for the final 2 weeks of class, since all the other weeks you have in essence 2 weeks to finish them. Just want to make sure that you've got that available if you wanted to dive into week 8 as well. You also have project 2. That's the encapsulation of the second half of the course of things that we've been working on weeks 4, 5, 8, 6, and 7. So we'll take a look at that inside the class portal. Make sure you're ready to go with that. Okay, as a reminder, participation and challenge activities, anything Zybook related, open the first day of class, remains open the full 8 weeks. So you have until Sunday of week 8, 11:59 p.m. Mountain, or not Mountain time, excuse me, 11:59 p.m. in your time zone to complete that. Week 6's discussion forum is closed. This is one of the only components of the class that is as rigid. Discussion forums are only allowed to be posted in the week they are assigned. We do have one more discussion forum that will occur next week in week 8. Those postings are only accepted in the week they are assigned. And then from written assignment perspective, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is pretty much wrapped up. So anything that came in at the end of week 5 from the end of week 6, you should have final grades out there no later than Tuesday of week 7. Odds are you'll probably see them out there by Monday of week 7. So again, anything on these that are listed past due, typically they are not accepted for credit after that particular point, unless there's an extenuating circumstance. You would need to send me an email and we would discuss that on a one-on-one basis. Typically, time management is not grounds for an extension. It needs to be an emergency type situation that would come into play in terms of extension. Since I do give you the full 2 weeks to complete the assignments, you do need to get them wrapped up in that 2-week window. Your project submission this week 7 is you have this week and next week to submit it for full credit. And we've already talked about the exceptions relative to that. Participation in challenge activities, the scores automatically update in the class portal as long as you clicked on those links. We talked about the first 6 weeks, as well as week 7 and week 8, making sure that you are clicking on those links. Those are the things that transfer the scores from the Zybook into the class portal gradebook. And again, I'll show you later on inside the presentation where you can see the week 7 and week 8 challenge activity videos that are out there. Right. So feedback schedule 1 should already be there from previous weeks. 6, typically Monday morning, at the latest by Tuesday morning, you should see the feedback, the rubrics filled out relative to any your respective postings and your performance on the week 6 discussion. anything from week 7, as well as if you go into week 8, if you choose to do so, those scores automatically update to the class portal gradebook. Week 2 through 5's assignments, you should see out there by the beginning of week 7. And then anything from week 7, the initial submissions, typically I will grade those throughout the week, but anything submitted on Sunday should be out there no later than Tuesday morning for any initial submissions. During week 8, I will continue to grade those items so that you can see kind of an overall picture, your final grade inside the class. But we'll address that again more in detail next week during the week 8 housekeeping video. All right, my availability during the course week, Monday through Saturday morning, typically benchmark to get back with you in 24 hours, usually quicker than that. Email's the best way to get a hold of me. You do have the voicemail option. I do prefer the email. That is the fastest way to get a hold of me. The exception to that is Sunday. If for some reason you send something on Sunday, you may not get a response until Monday morning. If for some reason I have a Life Athens event, I will post an announcement stating if there's any delay in terms of any questions or concerns that would be answered inside the class. And then, cannot stress this enough, we are coming towards the end of the class. Make sure you allocate enough time for this project that you are working on this week. It is 19% of your overall grade. It is worth 190 points. So it is a significant chunk of your overall grade inside the class. So start taking a look at it this week at the beginning of the week. Don't wait until the end on Sunday of week 8 to get it done. Odds are you're probably not going to complete it in that time. There is a lot that's involved with this particular project too you're going to be working on. I try to be as flexible as possible, as I've mentioned throughout the previous weeks, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you do have questions or concerns. Let's go into the class portal. And first thing I want to do is go underneath the announcements page. First thing I want to bring to your attention is the Zybook videos. So if I scroll all the way down here to the bottom, and we keep going, that's 5, that's 6. Okay, first one here is going to be for week 8. You're going to see one out here for week 8. And then the other one is for week 7. So starting at the beginning of week 7, you'll be able to see both of these videos out there that goes through all the challenge activities and any participation activities that involved Excel as part of the calculation. So you've got those 2 videos as a resource to take a look at. And then let's dive into week 7's module. Let's go into learning modules. Then we're going to scroll down to module 7 here. For module 7, make sure you're clicking on both of these links. And again, you'll want to do the same thing. I'm going to come over to week 8 as well. You want to make sure that both of these guys are clicked, especially if you're starting at week 7 and you're wanting to go in and see the grade inside the class portal gradebook. You need to make sure both of those are selected. So coming back to week 7, the big item here is this project 2 submission. So let's take a look at the requirements. From a week 7 perspective, first thing you want to do, you want to go all the way down here to the bottom, take a look at the video. This is going to go through step by step of what needs to be submitted on this assignment. This is going to be things that we've done the previous 3 weeks inside the class. So you're going to be doing an introduction, talking about which region you analyzed, and again, include the source data that you're using for that respective sample inside the Word document template. So you want to make sure what is the purpose, make sure you're identifying all of these respective components, your level of confidence, what's your alpha that you're identifying. You're going to do a one-tailed test, identify the null and the alternative, make sure you got your equals versus either a less than or greater than relationship inside of your alternative. Do your data analysis, and it tells you what needs to be done in terms of illustrating that. You'll do your corresponding hypothesis test. That'll be a T-stat that's out there. We've talked about that in the previous weeks, utilizing the T-distribution. So you want to make sure that you take a look at making sure you key those into Excel and come up with your corresponding values, interpret the p-value, and then make the decision whether you reject or fail to reject the null hypothesis. Don't use the word accept. We've talked about that in previous weeks, where a null hypothesis cannot be accepted due to type 1 and type 2 errors. We addressed that in the previous weeks. And then provide the conclusion whether there is sufficient or not sufficient evidence to support the given null hypothesis out there. You'll also do an example of a two-tailed test. This is an equals versus not equals relationship between the null and the alternative hypothesis. You'll do your data analysis component, your hypothesis test, utilizing the formula there, the intrinsic formula built in inside of Excel. Compare the p-value to your level of significance you choose, state whether you reject or fail to reject, and whether there is or is not sufficient evidence, and then your final conclusion. So the video goes through all of those respective steps, and you want to make sure all of that is keyed in to the Word document. So you got all of your components, make sure you've got everything step by step there. And at the bottom, this is how it is assessed. So if you identify everything that's there, it goes into exemplary or proficient, depending on whether it allows you to do that or not. Like the introduction of the sample, if you provide the sample, it's either you did it or you didn't. So again, if you that's why NA is not exemplary. It's either it's an action that you did or you didn't relative. So everything is followed by you did all of it, minor issue, you're out in left field and I don't know what you did with it, or it was not attempted. So typically when you see inside the feedback, when I go to grade it, you're going to see out there that if it's exemplary, you're generally going to get the blurb saying you're in full points on that component, you did a great job, etc. If there's something minor that's missing, I'll address, hey, you're missing X, Y, and Z inside the blurb of the feedback, and then do the blurb of how many points that you've earned. And that'll be done for all your respective components inside of the rubric to get you to that 190 points. So if there's questions during the week on this project, as you start to take a look at it, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll do a Teams or Zoom meeting if needed. Hopefully we can address it via email. If not, I'm not opposed to the other one, the other option as well. Have a great week. Again, this is going to be a very busy week, especially with the project, but I know you can do it. I have all the faith in the world in all of you to be successful inside of the course. Have a great week. One more week to go with the housekeeping video in week 8. Thanks.